Hello and thank you for tuning into this episode. Today we are at Grønli. This is a place we've been before. Me and my father is here to photograph the Milky Way tonight. The weather conditions is looking good. There's a little bit clouds behind the camera right now, which is kind of sending the wrong signals. But the weather forecast is saying that it's going to clear up during the night. So we've been there before. As I said, a couple of years ago we had some amazing conditions that time, and this time we're kind of hoping for the same conditions, but just doing a little bit more improved photography with new equipment, wider lenses, and so on. So tonight I brought along 3 cameras. I got the Canon R6 with the 50mm, and I also brought along a 15mm for some wide angle. So the 50mm I'm going to use to photograph the center of the Milky Way, and the 15 is for wider landscape as well. I got the OM-1, which is the one I'm filming on right now. On that one I'm using the Panasonic 12mm. I'm also going to do some landscape and some time-lapse. I'm also going to do time-lapse with the R6 and time-lapse with the OM-1. And for some single still photography, I'm going to use my OM-5 with a 20mm lens on it. As well, with the time lapses, I brought along my iFootage time-lapse slider. I took on all the tracks, so it's quite a big slider this time. I'm not sure if it's going to be anything good to have this many tracks or this big slider, but I took it on just to see and hope that it will create some effect at least. So this is a 3x slider. It's going to go from A to B as well as panning and tilting. So this is a 3x time-lapse slider. And the second one I have the Syrp Mini, which is like a 1x. So this is just a panning one. So I'm going to use for the 50mm I'm thinking to pan. So the camera is following the center of the Milky Way. So the center of the Milky Way is always in the middle of the shot, and then you see the landscape just moving in the time-lapse. So yeah, that is all the gear I brought along tonight, and just gonna cross the fingers that the sky is clearing up and not clouding like it seems like it's doing right now. But yeah, let's hope. So I hope you stay tuned and enjoy this episode. I have now put up my time-lapse slider, so it's almost ready. I'm doing a couple of test shots just to see that I have gotten the focus correctly. But yeah, I am currently standing on a small dock here. This is the same spot as last year, and the reason why I picked this spot again is because the dock goes a little bit into the lake. There's nothing in the foreground, no bushes or anything, so it's just the lake, the silhouette of the mountains, and then the Milky Way in the sky. So that's why I'm picking this one again, because I want to do this better than last time. Last time I had a 24mm lens on, which I think was a little bit too much zoomed in. So this time I'm using a 15mm. So this is the Laowa 15mm f2 lens. And I also taken the slider a little bit up. I think it's almost the same height as last time. But the reason why I take it up is because I don't want to have any of the dark in the picture, and I also want to have the camera looking a little bit down into the lake, hoping to capture some reflection from the Milky Way as well, or at least some stars reflected in the lake. There is a little bit of wind right now, but I think it will calm down in a little bit. The clouds that was above me is all the way in the horizon in the west now, technically in the worst place, but they are moving really fast, and I think they will also disappear within half an hour. But yeah, so as I said earlier, I've taken all the tracks on my slider. So this is the longest I can have the slider. It's 3 tracks, quite long. I'm not sure if it's necessary or if you're going to see the movement at all in time-lapse since it's so dark. But I'm gonna have it on, so I'll see. Maybe it will be a nice effect. Let's see. I'm also not using the time-lapse function in the camera. I'm going to use a cable, so it's the slider that decides when the camera will take the picture, not the time-lapse function in the camera. So it's like the cable is like a remote controller. I put in all the settings correctly into the camera. I make sure that's the same settings in the slider app or the phone app that controls the slider, and then the slider will do all the work. The app, in the app I will choose how many pictures I will take. I'm thinking maybe 600 images, around 13-15 second shutter speed. I think 15 second shutter speed will do, and hopefully that will not be too long. So currently the Milky Way will start in the south west and then go to the northwest. So I think I will start on this end of the slider, if you can see it over there, but it's on the right side of the slider, looking into the Milky Way, and then the slider will go to the left while it will pan along with the Milky Way to the right. So I think that will be a nice effect. I'm also using the neutral light filter, I think it's called. I always forget the name, but it's the one that removes orange light. I really like this filter. There's not that much orange light here, but I know there's some towns and cities behind the mountain, so it might pop up some orange. So I'm having it on just in case, because I like how it brings a little bit blue color into the sky and so on. So I think it will turn out to be good. So yeah, I think everything is set. So I'll just put on the last bits and then calibrate everything and put in all the settings, and then we're good to go. So I hope this turns out to be a really nice time-lapse, and that the wind quiets down a little bit, because there is a little bit too much wind. So the lake might just be white in the time-lapse and not reflecting at all. But let's see. Anyways, I think it will be at least something good out of this. We have reached the end of this episode. I've done a lot of time lapses. I've done a lot of single shots, and yeah, I hope everything turned out to be great. We have had a little bit of clouds coming and going in the sky, so I'm not sure how that will look like in the time lapses and so on. But yeah, I'm really hoping that it turned out to be quite successful at least. My father is now packing the car, so I'm just gonna do this ending here to wrap up the episode. And I thought that I'd do landing next to this tree because I've done a lot of pictures of this tree tonight and also in my previous vlog as well, which I will just link up in the corner here so for you to see it. It is almost 2 years since I did that one last time. But yeah, I've tried out the R6 both with the 50mm and the 50mm. I did a little bit of experimental time-lapse with the 50mm, which I will show after this one, I think, as the ending of the episode. I've tried out the OM-5, which is a new camera I bought. I'm looking forward to see how well that performed in low light and night sky. I did some nice single pictures with that one, which I hope that will turn out great. And then I used the OM-1 for some pictures as well as some time lapses. So overall, I think this is going to be an episode packed with a lot of night sky photography. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.